this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the wife dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those birds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got some family here.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast, the official podcast of the Alamo Drafthouse, Winchester.
Welcome to another edition of the Mbatha podcast. Joining me is Brian Young.
God, I love being a turtle!
The Turtle Dork.
Don't even think about it, pig. Can't say I care for that nomenclature.
And I'm your host, Darren Smith.
Warm. Warmer. Disco.
The Disco Dork. Just for the record, I did not have chlamydia. It was pubic dermatitis. You get it from not washing your crotch, so... And welcome to another edition of the Mbatha podcast.
Yeah, you can tell me and Darren watched the same movie this weekend. We didn't watch it together. It's just ironic that we watched it on Easter weekend.
Great minds think alike and all that other good shit.
There you go. So it's a two-man show. Another preview of the Disco Turtle Show.
Yeah. It is current today as of recording right now. It is Easter Sunday, and the other two dorks, wife dork and mouth dork, have family matters to attend to. Shout out to Steve Urkel.
Not the show, but the actual family.
Carl Winslow.
The actual family that matters.
Oh, damn. So family matters, family don't matter?
I mean, they do if you like the show, but if you don't, then, you know.
They don't matter.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to attempt to hold it down. Please just give us a chance. Don't turn the episode off just yet. We're going to try our best to provide you with a quality episode. We're going to keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
We're not going to drag it out. And, I know you love mouth dork and wife dork the most, but just give us a chance. We will prove our value. All right, Brian, no pressure.
Just give us a chance, coach. Put me in.
Starting off bad with Ace Ventura quotes. I just asked them to give us a chance. You hit him with the Ace Ventura. Okay. Brian, how was your weekend dork?
Weekend dork was actually pretty good. Saw a couple of films. Actually, the film I want to highlight this week is an indie film called Fast Color. I don't know if you've heard about this film.
So you said you were going to see it today. I was like, what the fuck?
And I saw this trailer a few months back, and it's an indie film. I had no idea when it was actually coming out. And it stars Gugu Mbatha, who I really, really like, and Lorraine Toussaint, who plays her mother, and her daughter is played by this young actress, Sanaya Sidney, who plays Lila. So the characters' names, so Gugu plays Ruth, Lorraine Toussaint, who plays her mother, Bo, and then you have her daughter, Gugu's daughter, Sanaya Sidney, who plays Lila, and David Strathairn is in there as well. And I'll give you the synopsis because, sometimes I'm not good at breaking movies down and stuff like that. So, but I don't want to give too much away because this is an indie film and it's not widely released. And I don't think it's going to be in theaters very long. But a woman is forced to go on the run when her superhuman abilities are discovered. Years after having abandoned her family, the only place she has left to hide is home. So basically, the movie opens up with Gugu Mbatha-Raw's character Ruth is basically on the run. So she escapes like this abandoned warehouse, and she goes to like this rundown motel. And she's basically running, and then we find out she's running from the government, and it's kind of like this government agency that kind of captures these women that have like these different abilities, and basically their abilities is the fact that they can take any solid object or anything, and they see it as color, and they can basically take that solid object and dissolve it almost into like dust particles, and then it can kind of form back together. And so Ruth has this power, but the thing about it is that something happened to her when she was younger that made her flee her family. I guess she got captured by the government, and so she explains that she's sober now. So I think she was like she was either an alcoholic or a drug addict, and she was having these seizures. And so what happened is like she lost her ability to be able to do this thing with the objects as far as dissolving them. So when she lost her ability, her seizures started to happen. And what happens with these seizures, when she has these seizures, it causes like almost like these earthquakes. So she's able to control like the tectonic plates in the earth. So when she has these seizures, she basically causes these earthquakes in wherever she's at. And so the government is after her to experiment on her. So she flees and she goes back to her house, to where she grew up at. But she's been kind of she's been estranged from her mother and her daughter. So when she comes back, they're trying to it's almost like them trying to reconnect. And the thing about it is like they all have these abilities. So the grandmother, the mother, so Bo, Ruth, and Lila all have these abilities. But Ruth is the only one that has these seizures because she lost the ability to see color. That's basically what it is. They're like, the only way you can like dissolve and see this stuff is like you have to see the color. And she can't see the color anymore. And so and that's kind of like the setup of it. But what I love about this movie as far as the themes, it really is this generational theme about fixing things that are broken within your relationship. And they kind of use this story with these three women and these three generations of women to tell this story as far as like how they reconnect and fixing their relationship that has been broken through these superhuman abilities that they have. And it's a very slow paced, not necessarily slow, but like a deliberately paced film. But the ending really, really affected me as far as like how you see these women connect, as far as like how the story comes together with the government and them like closing in on them, and then the relationship between all three of these different women. I found the movie to be really, really effective, especially when we got to the end of the film. I don't want to give too much away, but like I said, an indie film and a different type of movie that kind of deals with superhero type of things that we've seen. I haven't seen the movie, but it reminds me something of like Midnight Special. I don't know if you saw that movie.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but just going from the trailer, it's kind of similar.
Michael Shannon,
yeah. But something like that's an indie film that's a little bit more of a higher concept. So I don't know if you get a chance to check it out. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters. I definitely would suggest you guys check it out. But the performances I thought were great. But for me, I thought the lady that played the grandmother, Bo, Lorraine Toussaint, I thought she was phenomenal. And Mbatha I've always been a fan of her since I saw her in Concussion. She was Will Smith's wife.
Shit, tell me the movie.
Tell me the truth. No. What did he say? I want the truth.
I guess. Is
that offensive?
Probably.
I mean, I'm African American. He's African, so I can say it, right?
I guess. Hit him up in the comments and let him know.
But I've always liked her, and I thought she was really, really good. I think all three women in this, David Strathairn, once you find out his connection to the women and his story, I thought he plays a great supporting character in this. And again, a great indie film with a good high concept. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. But that's Fast Color. Saw Little. That was a movie.
Is that like an inverted version of Big? For real?
Yeah. Now, the one thing I like about the movie is the young girl, Marseille Martin. She plays the girl on Blackish. I don't know if you watched that show or if anybody, but I've heard good things about Blackish, and but she's like one of the youngest kids on there. And the thing about Marsai Martin is the fact that the story that's been in the news is like she's become the youngest executive producer she's become the youngest woman to executive produce a film.
Kid?
Yeah.
Damn.
Either that or the youngest African American woman to executive produce a film. And she pitched this idea, and as much as I appreciate that and I like that and I support that, you can tell that this was pitched by a child.
Damn. It's like Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah,
damn.
You can say that. But you know what? Even with that being said, it does have some pretty laugh out loud moments. Not a lot. I just think the story is really generic and it's just a little simple. And I'm saying simple like simpleton.
Damn.
It's just, I don't know. It's like the script is just really, really bad. It feels like it came from the mind of a child. It really does, which is fine. It's a kid's movie, and I think it works to some degree. And I thought the performances, Marsai Martin is really, really good in it. You can definitely tell that she's going to be a star. There's a couple uncomfortable jokes in there because she plays it's like Regina Hall is like. So she gets little, so it's like Regina Hall's a 38-year-old woman in like this 14-year-old's body, and so she has to get enrolled in middle school, and her middle school teacher is like this handsome guy. I think it's the guy from like This Is Us, and so like there's a scene where she's flirting with her teacher, but like within the context of the story, yeah, that's a 38-year-old woman flirting with a grown man. But that's actually when you're thinking about them filming it, that's really a 14-year-old girl that's flirting with a grown man about and it just, I don't know how I feel about that. It just felt a little uncomfortable. It's like I don't know. That was maybe felt like they were pushing it a little bit because you could definitely tell they were kind of safeguarding a lot of the language in the movie and a lot of kind of the adult humor to make it more for children, but that just felt like I don't know, but I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. And of course, we talked about game night. It's Easter, and when we're recording this, so I hung out with my family, with my mother, and a lot of times me and my mother will just sit and watch a movie. So she was like, "What movies you got?" And I was like, "Have you seen Game Night?" She was like, "No." She thought I was talking about Blockers. I was like, "No, Mom, not Blockers." She's like, "Yeah, I think I saw that. I didn't really like it." Blockers is funny though, but I was like, "No, Game Night." I was like, "I think you'll dig it." So today I watched I watched Game Night with my mother, and she really enjoyed it. And y'all know I love that movie. One of my favorite comedies from last year. One of my top movies of 2018. So yeah, that was my weekend dork. The new Hobbs and Shaw trailer,
bruh.
Okay, it's a quick little preview. We're doing our fistful of most anticipated of the summer coming up, and it's safe to say I think we're gonna be talking about that movie. That shit looks like so much fucking fun.
That movie is that trailer looks nuts.
It looks so ridiculous.
It looks nuts.
I'm so here for it.
I'm shocked at how much, because it's funny because it's a spinoff of the Fast and Furious film, that franchise, and as we've talked about plenty of times ad nauseum on the podcast about the trajectory of just the franchise in and of itself, right? Its ups and downs and stuff like that, and how, at the very least for me, I know Brad loves it. But for me, I felt like as it was getting more and more outlandish and ridiculous, it was losing me, right? Mm-hmm. But here comes this spinoff that is damn near has one foot or one leg into like the MCU or the DC. Like, it is damn near a superhero movie.
Yeah, I know.
And so the first trailer comes out, and it tips its hat at how crazy it's gonna be, right? With the whole Idris Elba and super, but it didn't go like nuts as far as trailer wise, right? Tonally, just establishing the tone. And at that point, like, I was like, yo, I'm so on board. Even before that, when they announced it, like I was on board. It was like one of my most anticipated of the year. And then that trailer comes out, I'm sold. And then this trailer comes out, and it is freaking nuts. Like, dude, it is insane. Like, they are in comic book land. Like, it is outlandish. But I was so digging it. Like, digging it.
But that's the thing. It's like, if you sell the movie, if you let me know up front, like, this movie is just going to be balls to the wall action, is going to have this air of ridiculousness to it, but we're going to have fun with it, and you go in knowing that, man, this movie just looks like it's just going to be a ton of fun, and the chemistry between the two of them. And Idris Elba, Black Superman, like.
But on top of all those factors, which are important, right?
Yeah.
But the foundation of all those things is the
Fast and Furious.
No, the action movie. It's an action movie,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you have to pad that and populate it with characters that are interesting, charismatic, and then they have a good rapport.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff, but the action part of it, like, that shit looks fucking badass. There's shit in this trailer that I don't know that I've seen, like, at the very least, like, in that way.
When he grabs the guy on the motorcycle and he's driving and he rams him into
that. Yeah, that moment when they're going down the into the respective corridors and they have the glass in between them, like, just the inventiveness of the action to me is a breath of fresh air. Like, because we've. Like, how long has action been a part of cinema? Like, since its inception, right?
Yeah.
And as cinephiles and as people who watch more movies than the normal person, and then as someone who got into filmmaking because through the action genre, like, I've watched my share of action films. So, you after a while you get used to a specific language, right? A particular language in as far as action goes, and to see them establish something new. Or as far as how many ways can you sell a punch? How many ways can you sell an action sequence? How many ways can you sell a guy taking down a room full of bad guys?
Yeah.
And then you show me something new like this, it gets me excited. And then on top of that, the movie looks fun and funny. So yeah, dude, I saw that trailer. I was sold.
It almost kind of reminds me of what the potential, thinking back to like G.I. Joe, of what a G.I. Joe movie could be in the right hands of a director that understands what that property is to a degree.
True.
I could see something like that. It's
basically what it is. It
feels like a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, it really feels that way in the best possible way.
Yeah.
In the best possible way. But you're right. Like, when you look at the action genre, and there's so many different facets to that. Like, you can have your Gareth Evans,
yeah.
Like the Raid type of action.
Yeah.
You can have your Donnie Yen Hong Kong action martial arts movies, Ip Man movies, and you can have this Fast and Furious Hollywood style action. And it's just like, I like how we can have all these different styles and genres of within that, and and we not really compare. We can find enjoyment in things that are different and more inventive in all those different type of action movies that we get. You know what I'm saying? So,
and just from this trailer, it looks like you have all those three that you just named in one friggin' movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it really does. You have your Fast and Furious type chase sequence, outlandishness, the Michael Bay explosions type shit.
Yeah.
Then you have like the hand-to-hand capabilities of Jason Statham, who is a phenomenal martial artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's directed by
David Leitch, who we know, his 8711 action studio, and their fight teams and stunt teams, and they come from the stunt world.
And
so
the work with John Wick and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, man. I'm so ready for this movie, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for that fistful that we're going to do next week. I can't wait to talk about these movies coming out this summer.
Same. So be on the lookout for that. What else? That's all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got for my weekend dork.
Just because this was a light week as far as like mainstream wide releases.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything. Had I known about Fast Color, I probably would have went and saw that, but I didn't know about it until you. I didn't know anything of its existence until you said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go see Fast Color this morning."
Yeah.
I looked at the trailer like after that, and I was like, "God damn, that looks really good."
Okay. So you saw the trailer. Okay.
So I'm going to go see it. I might go see it tomorrow. But there was a. I saw at the Angelica. say what you will about its audiences sometimes, which to this day, like, I've never been in one of the audience that Brad and Lisa describe in there.
Dude, when you're done, I gotta tell you a story about my theater experience. But oh my god,
was it a good one?
No, not really.
Oh,
not really.
Okay.
But yeah, but you're right, the Angelica.
So I've never had a bad experience there. But anyway, like, I dig the fact that they'll show like movies like Fast Color and High Life, which I went and saw. But I also saw, before I talk about High Life, I saw an anime called Penguin Highway, and any chance I get to see anime on the big screen, like, I always take advantage of it. And so this wasn't based on any pre-existing manga that I was aware of or anything like that. It's actually an animated adaptation of a novel written by Tomohiko Mimori. And this film was directed by Ishihara Hiroyasu. And from my understanding, Hiroyasu got his start or his recognition. He used to do like little animated short clips and have them on YouTube. And apparently, like, he blew up and he did a Kickstarter and got this movie funded. Okay. And IMDb has it says a fourth grader, Aoyama-kun, investigates the mysterious reason behind the sudden appearance of penguins in his village, which is somehow related to a power from a young woman working at a dental clinic. That synopsis sounds nuts. Yeah. But the movie, this actual story in and of itself is nuts and how it plays out. But I would be lying if I said that it wasn't one of the most unique and original coming-of-age stories that I've ever seen. Oh, really? Because, it centers around this fourth grader, and Aoyama, he's a lot smarter than his
typical fourth grader.
Yeah, than his peers, right? Yeah. I mean, like, really, really intelligent.
Okay.
And he's aware of it too, right? It's almost like, but he's aware of it, but he's not. It's kind of like Superman. Like, Superman knows he's the strongest dude on the planet, right? But he's not a dick about it, Okay. But to see, like, this fourth grader be aware of how intelligent he is,
and he knows that
he knows it, but he's not. But he's still, he's not an outcast because of it. He's not shunned because of it. He doesn't look down and belittle other people because of it. Okay. He's still a grounded and well-rounded kid, right?
Yeah.
And one day there is this phenomena, and it's not like metaphorical. It's not like in his head. Like, the phenomena that's in the description. Really, that one day he's across from this field, and he looks over. He sees a penguin, and then, like, all these penguins start manifesting from somewhere, and there's a connection. There's a young woman who works. She's a dental assistant at this dental office that he goes to. Okay. And when the movie starts, he's been there a few times. He's already met her, so they know each other. Yeah. And they have this. It is odd, I will admit. They have an odd friendship, not like a romantic friendship, but they have a friendship that, in the context of, I guess, our society or whatever, like, it would seem out of place. But, like, she ends up finding out about the penguins and and he decides to investigate, like, where these penguins come from and how is this possible, because he's very aware of the environment that penguins usually and normally thrive in, not this
like
area
more,
of
like
Japan
a warm
and
climate,
right? Yeah. And so he automatically goes into, all right, well, I need to analyze this and solve this problem. Okay. And in doing that, he lets the dental assistant lady in on what's going on, and they end up going through this research, and she humors him, but then, like, she discovers that, oh shit, like, he's not making this shit up. There's something to this. And then she somehow becomes an integral part of this. And I don't want to spoil it because as weird as that premise sounds, the film gets weirder. But at the end, it's kind of like it reminds me of Fast Color in that, it's measured in, like, its depiction of Aoyama and his life, his relationship with his family, his father, and it's atypical. It's like his father's there. His father posits like questions to him to get him to think and solve problems and stuff, and he figures it out and works it out. And his father is present in his life. His father is supportive. He doesn't have like a strained relationship with him because his parents can't understand him or whatever. Like he's very much aware of them, and they're very much aware of him. And the movie establishes that. It establishes his life at school. He has a best friend, Hamamoto, he's really funny. He's like a timid. He would follow Aoyama anywhere. He wears glasses. He's a kind of a timid kid, but he's also his right hand man. And whatever Aoyama says, like, you know, Hamamoto would, all right, if you think that's the right thing to do, let's do it. I'm kind of scared right now. You want to go into this part of the woods, but I hear that there's this urban legend about the silver moonlight. I don't know. I'm scared, but if you say we got to go in there, we should. Then I'll trust you. It's like he got his back, right? Yeah. And like, I don't know. It's just like a really endearing friendship. And then there's another character, a little girl, who she's researching this phenomenon also on her own, and all three of them discover an even weirder phenomenon that may or may not be connected to the penguins. Okay. That I don't know. Like, it just gets weirder and weirder, but the characters become more and more endearing, and then the relationships explored, and then ultimately how it ends between Aoyama and Onisan, which is the nurse lady. I think
the lady that works at the dental office.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, it was really sweet. It ended up being like really sweet, like how that movie ended. But it was nuts. I'd be lying if I said like I wasn't lost on like the explanation of like where these penguins came from and its explanation. Like, that kind of lost me. But the characters never lost me. What the story does with the characters never. You know, I was there from the beginning to the end. And,
well, that's the most important thing.
And I think, and thinking back on it, because you know we're dealing with a fourth grader, and at this turn of his adolescence, like he has this fixation with this dental woman, and he's always looking at her boobs, but he's not looking at her boobs in like a sexual way. He's noticing the opposite sex anatomy and how and how it's different and how it's odd. But he doesn't make comments like, oh my. He's not like staring at him like how grown men stare at a woman instead of looking at her face.
And that comes through the animation.
It comes through and he has discussions about it with her.
Oh, okay.
And you know, because she says, "Hey, my eyes are up here." They play chess, right?
Oh, I see.
And so she says, "Hey, my eyes up here." And so he tells her, "Well, no, I'm not." In so many words, I'm not looking at you like that. Like, he's just saying, like, he talks in general to his buddy, to his best friend, about like how boobs are odd, like how boobs are weird, and what that's like for a kid, like what that's like for, because at some point you're gonna notice that at some point as a boy or as a girl, you notice the opposite sex and that their body is different. So, I say that, I bring that up to say that mirrors this otherworldly phenomenon that is not explainable to this kid, is not explainable to this adult, but
that's almost like
a metaphor for a child going through adolescence. Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's like they're fixated on this whole penguin phenomenon almost the same way he's fixated on like the woman's body. It's not just that's just one small character detail. I bring that up, but to say that because he's a fourth grader, because he is going through his adolescence, life is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, it changes, whether it be within your body, whether it be through school, whether it be through friends, how you deal with your family and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of unexplainable.
It's unexplainable. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can sit down and talk with your parents, but they're not going to be able to give you definitive answers, right?
Exactly.
So you're going through the unexplainable, and so it kind of mirrors this phenomenon with the penguins and this other thing, which I didn't make that connection initially, like while I was watching it, but after the film and after thinking about it, like, it was like bam, like that shit was right there in my face. Like, how did I see that? That's fucking brilliant. Okay. Because I was thinking like, man, like I was thinking about how the characters never lost me, but like how I just couldn't get around like the weird, unexplainable, because you don't get all your answers at the end of the movie, right? And I was like, I just can't get, like, why would they do that? And then I just thought about Aoyama and all the things that they were establishing regarding him being a fourth grader and what they established in his life before we even get to the penguin stuff. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so he was kind of looking at it through his eyes.
So I don't know, like I give that movie the highest remarks. And it's cool because Mamoru Hosoda, the director, he's got a bright future, man. Like this movie, the animation is fucking nuts. And in a time where, like, not even in a time, animation period has always been known for, you know, cost cutting and cutting corners because, you know, a lot of animation studios just don't have the budget to have the entire animated film be fluid and full of detail like your Akira's and things like that, your Red Lines or Ghost in the Shells. But like what he's done, and I'm not sure about the size of his animation studio or the team that he's worked with, but he's got a bright future ahead. I wouldn't.
Was that the director? Because I see a different name here.
What's next?
Hiro Yasu.
I'm sorry. I'm reading that's the director. The director I named Mamoru. So that's the director of Mirai. But I meant that. But that's good because that's a good connection. Not connection, but Hosoda. He's been hailed in some circles as the next Miyazaki. Like his work as far as animation quality and story quality is extremely good. And I mentioned his name by mistake, but because I had him in mind, because what I wanted to say was Ishida, he has the same characteristics and quality in his film. Like it is this is his debut film. And the quality is bar. This is like District 9 in Blomkamp's directorial debut. Is that good? Like as far as like animation quality, but also substance, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I found myself really enjoying that film. I also want to talk about High Life, which I saw today, and I was like, all right, I gotta see, because I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about Penguin Highway for my weekend dork, but I felt like maybe I should go see this because. I saw, shout out to Rap Dork Physics, I saw he checked in a couple days ago at the theater and he was seeing it, and I was like, what the hell is that? I hadn't seen a trailer.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this movie.
I heard that Robert Pattinson was in a movie about he was in space. That was all I knew, and I didn't even know that was this film. I just heard separately weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, that he was in a movie that was coming out and he was in space. And so I see Chris said he's watching High Life, and I was like, you know what? I need to check and see if that's playing somewhere. Maybe I'll go see that. And so I decided to go see it today. And I love Robert Pattinson. Last night I just gave Good Times to my girl to watch because that's a great film and she hadn't seen it and she's a huge Pattinson fan. And I was like, all right, well, this looks like another solid. Because man, I mean, say what you will about. At this point, like, it's not even. I don't think it's worth mentioning like Twilight films anymore because his career trajectory has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
like phenomenal.
He's legit.
He has done so well for himself as far as like sidestepping the shadow of that franchise. That I look forward to like each new film that he does, and I did not see that shit coming.
Absolutely.
But. So I was like, all right, well, a new Pattinson film, I gotta go see it. I don't care that I don't know anything about it. I'm Zatoichi dork now. Like I like to go in blind in my movie. So, bruh,
Andre Benjamin in this joint.
That caught me off guard. Like I didn't even know Andre 3000.
Man, three stacks up in there.
Yeah, he's great in the film. So it's directed by Claire Denis, who I had never heard of her before. She's a French director, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe she's not. I know she worked...
If she's French, then it's actually Denis.
Denis. Maybe, maybe if she's French, it's Denis. If she's not, I only say that because she is one of the co-writers. Jean-Paul Forgueux is the other co-writer. Hope I didn't butcher that.
What's that name?
I'm not saying it again. You got to go IMDb or rewind it. Hit the rewind button. Go back 10 seconds if you want to hear that again. I'm not making myself like a fool. Shit. It says a father and his daughter struggle to survive in deep space where they live in isolation. So, spoiler alert. If you maybe I haven't decided if I'm a spoiler yet because I don't even know if I can. I will just say that I went into this movie blind, and for the first 15-20 minutes, I was glad I went into the movie blind. But then after the fact, I was like, maybe it would have done me well to see a trailer because this shit. I don't know, man. It started off really strong. It started off really good. So like, there's this baby, like an infant, like a tot, I don't even think she's a toddler yet, and she's like in this playpen, and there are these computer screens set up to, I guess, keep her occupied. And then we cut to Pattinson. He's out on the hull of a spaceship doing some maintenance work, talking to this baby, which I had assumed at this point was his daughter, and I'm like, oh shit, that's odd as fuck. Like I've never seen a baby. Like picture a baby on the Nostromo, you know, like a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never seen like a baby in space like that, right? And he's taking care of it. It's just him and her on this ship. Like that's it. Like it's a huge ship, and it's just him and her on the ship. So the film plays, and it through flashbacks or not even it has a really odd structure because it opens with him establishing it's just him and her on the ship alone, and then like it goes into how that came to be, and there were some other people on the ship, and then so have you seen the trailer for this?
I want to say I have. I can't remember it.
I don't know. I'm assuming maybe in the trailer. I'm assuming in the trailer that they say that how he got in space is there's a program on Earth where they take death row inmates and lifers, and they offer them a choice. You know, they offer them the opportunity to go into space for this program, this project, this experiment, and when you come back, you'll be free or whatever. Yeah. Lying to them, they're never coming back. They never expect them to make it back, I don't even think.
Oh, wow.
So the experiment is to go to a black hole to see if they can bring back a renewable and sustainable new type of energy source. Okay. Right? Okay. So they're headed towards this black hole. But, like I said, with no intention of having them ever come back. So after you establish Pattinson and the baby, her name's Willow. Okay. After you establish them being alone, then you flash back to like the crew: Andre Benjamin, Mia Goth from, goddamn, freaking Cure for Wellness. She was in Blue is the Warmest Color. She's been in a lot of things. Okay. So there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like 8. Other inmates, and Juliette Binoche, she's, which at first I didn't pick up on it. She's a doctor. She's the medical authority on the ship. There's another lady who is a pilot. There's another inmate who's a pilot. Andre Benjamin is I guess he's got the green thumb. He works in the what do you call it? Like the garden room. So they have a room there where they cultivate plants and food and stuff like that so they can eat. And there are these other 3 characters. There's 2 girls and a guy that I don't know what the fuck their purpose was. And I guess so. Anyway, it gets weird once they're introduced because Juliette Binoche, she is obsessed. Her name is Dibs, and she's obsessed with these conducting a reproductive experiments. Like she wants to. She's taking semen samples from all the males, and I guess she's trying to get artificially inseminate the 2 of the female inmates to, I don't know, breed some type of a child. I don't know why. I might have missed it because just the way that the movie was structured and stuff like that, a lot of shit was just, I don't know. You can tell it's one of those, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes now, like art house films. It's not like a straightforward editing from scene to scene, like construction of a narrative, right? It just, you jump back and forth. You have flashbacks to Robert Pattinson when he was a kid, because there's this traumatic incident with his dog and his best friend. So it's very like dreamlike how it just weaves in and out of like timelines. Okay. And like almost so much so that like some crazy stuff happens with most of the crew. And then there's this girl who's probably like 11, 12, 13. She's laying in bed with Pattinson, like on him. And I'm like, well, where the fuck did she come from? And I'm thinking like, I must have missed her. Maybe they showed her in the background the whole time. And I didn't realize that was the baby grown up. So that was his daughter. And so at that point, we're back in the present timeline, and that takes us up to the end of the film, which, I don't know, feels like, you know, there's shades of Interstellar and 2001 to be had. Yeah. Most definitely. Even with the score and the opening, when we open in the greenhouse, like on some flora in the greenhouse and some soil. And the score, it's not dun, dun, dun. It's not that specifically. There's like some strings and some other things, but the way that the tempo rises, it's kind of like almost off key to kind of not be so obvious, but it's like the tone of it is like it's there. Like if you know, it's there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's okay, huh? Okay, I get it, I see. Okay. But then like with most definitely like at the end of the film, like with Interstellar, when they're going through the event horizon and shit, like there's shades of that. And then like with 2001, like when they go beyond the infinite and come out the other side, like there's shades of that at the end of the film too. So all that stuff when it was just Pattinson and his daughter, like that was cool. But the shit with like Juliette, like, cause she, first of all, there's this weird room called the box on this ship that, because the inmates aren't allowed to be like intimate with each other, for I guess to keep their sanity and or whatever, like to deal with their human wants and needs. There's this room that they go in, and like the first time they show this box, it's her, Juliette Binoche, goes in there. And there's this, looks like a one of the chairs that a woman would sit on and to get an exam with the stirrups on the side or something like that. But then like it's got like this silver dildo thing.
I was about,
and she puts a condom on, and then like so basically you go in this room to get off, right? And so, but it's used differently for like each person that goes in there. Like I don't know the science behind it. They don't really explain it, which I don't really care. But like when that was introduced, I was like, okay, because that scene is very like graphic and sexual for her, like especially for her, like because I don't normally think her, and I ain't saying anything is wrong with that. Like I salute her for being like that free with her choices and art and depiction and stuff like that. But just for this movie, just the tone that they was establishing up to this point, like it kind of caught me off guard. And then like her character, she rapes Robert Pattinson, like at one point in the movie. Spoiler alert. Which, I mean, we've seen men get raped all the time. I mean, women get raped all the time. So I'm not saying that there's a problem with that, but just I don't know. I'm just not used to seeing her in these roles. And then for that to be in this particular movie, I don't know. Just there was some shit going on that I don't know. It's just some very interesting story choices, and especially coming from like a female director, because there's another guy on the ship who, at one point, Mia Goth's character, Boise, she was strapped to her bed, and this guy, I guess he just got sick of it and sick of going in the box to get off, and he just went in there and like tried to sexually assault her, like, and was punching her in the face. And her roommate was in there and was like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" He punched her in the face and the nose and shit. Like, I don't know. So it was some brutality against women in the film that I found surprising, as being that it was directed by a woman, and it really didn't. I didn't feel like it was needed. Like, you could have, to get that guy out of there, you could have found so many other reasons to get that guy out of the picture, as opposed to having him being killed off by the girl who got punched in the nose because she was mad that he got punched in the nose. Like, I don't know. I just felt like, it just felt like an odd narrative choice in 2019. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like not really exploitative. It was just really pointless.
Yeah, I'm reading this quote by Claire Denis about the movie. It's on IMDb in the trivia section, and this.
What'd she say?
This is weird.
Because it might explain some shit to me.
No, because this might make it more confusing, because it's about the sexuality in the film. It says the film is about sexuality, not sex. Sensuality, not pornography. Sexuality is about fluids. As soon as sexuality stirs within us, we know it's all about fluids. Blood, sperm, etc. I thought if I wanted that fluid subtext to work, we had to reduce the sex act to masturbation. I forbade myself any naked scenes, no erect cocks, no gaping pussies. We did it another way. High Life speaks only of desire and of fluids. The film shows many taboos about our own bodies, the taboos of intimacy, and the taboo around, of course, incest. It's a taboo, but it exists.
All right, so
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if that gives you, if that explains anything.
Hell no, because what the fuck they got to do with beating and rape? Like,
exactly, I don't know.
Now, there's a lot of bodily fluids in the movie, like outside of a porn, like I have not seen this much semen in the film. Like
really,
yeah, like it was nuts. Now, and I'm not saying like now, mostly it was from like when they go into a room and they have to bring the specimen out in like a beaker or whatever.
Yeah,
she's in her lab and she's trying to do, like I said, she has this fixation on reproduction and she's doing these experiments with the female inmates or whatever. So I mean, they show like they go in the room and they come out with the clear jar and you can see the shit in that. But then there's another, like after she rapes Robert Pattinson, she gets off of him and she squats down and she uses her hand. And then you see the shit like run down her leg. And then she's walking down the hallway with it in her hand. I guess in the shot, and then she goes in the lab and sucks it up in like a dropper thing. And then she goes in Mia Goth's room and she inserts it in her while she's sedated.
Did anybody walk out of this movie?
That was just me in there. I was the only dude in there, motherfucker. And I was just like, what the fuck? And so when, I don't know, I'm kind of like, when stuff like this is happening in the movie, like I'll sit through it just to see like, okay, what are you saying? Like, is it gonna pay off? Like what's the point of this? And to be honest, like I don't know. And now that you like the whole incest thing,
and the whole thing about the taboos of our own bodies and the taboos of intimacy. Like, does the movie like talk about like the different taboos about sexuality? Like, is there like?
Not that I remember. There was no specific dialogue. Like, because, I mean, they weren't even. I mean, Andre Benjamin, his character. So everyone else goes into the box periodically or whenever, right? Except for Robert Pattinson. He just won't. He decided he's not going to do it. He's practicing celibacy. He said it makes him stronger or whatever. So Andre Benjamin would tease him and call him blue balls or whatever. But there was never. Pattinson never said like, I'm not doing that because I feel it's wrong or it's taboo or whatever. And nobody ever said, why are you so high and mighty? Are you too good to do? Like, no one ever. It was never apparent that was, a thematic element. As viewing it as taboo. Now, as far as like the incest goes, like I didn't even pick up on. So when they cut to the present timeline and that girl is laying with Robert Pattinson in his bed, I thought that was another inmate, but once I realized, oh shit, that's his daughter, I didn't think, I don't know, I didn't think that they were sleeping together. I just thought like, because it's since she was born, like some crazy shit happens when she's probably like a few weeks, maybe a month or two old. And then at that point, it's just them two on the ship. So for years, for like 10, 12 years, however old she was when we jumped to the present, it's just been her and him. So I didn't think that they were intimate when she was laying in the bed with him. I just thought like, well, that he's all she's ever known, right? So I don't know. I didn't put two and two together like that. But now that you said that you read that to me,
maybe the director was trying to imply that in some way.
I can see it. I can. But not. Maybe I can't see because so the scene goes. We cut. She's laying in the bed. He sleeps. She sleep. And then he wakes up and he pushes her. He's like, "What are you doing? Get out. Go get in your own bed." And she's like, "But it's so far away." And so she gets up. She goes and lays in her own bed. And he rolls over. He looks at the sheet. And there's spots of blood on the sheet. And then they cut to her. She puts her hand between her leg. And she's bleeding. So she has her period. So at this point I was like, where the fuck did she come from? Has she been there the whole time? I thought maybe I was getting her mixed up with the other character named Mink, the other female. And I was like, who the fuck is that? But so then like they cut to another scene and I'm like, oh shit, we're in the present now. Okay, I'm trying to keep up with the movie. So then I think back to that moment. I go, okay, it makes sense that when she said, she didn't want to lay in her bed, and then she's having her period, and he didn't know how to discuss that with her. He didn't say anything to her when he saw the blood. So I was like, okay, it makes sense that he didn't say anything because maybe she's having her period for the first time, and he just doesn't know how to deal with the shit. And then it makes sense that when she was like, oh, it's so far away, my bed, because she just wants to be close to her dad because she's always been with her dad. So I get that. So that's why I was thinking, okay, that's her daughter. But like I didn't think of anything like incestuous. But I don't know. I would say if I go back and rewatch it. But I don't see myself rewatching this film.
No.
I was just like it started off good, then like everyone else got introduced and it got really fucking crazy and weird, and then it ended. I like how it ended, which it was like really vague and like, oh shit, what just happened? And so I appreciate that, but like the rest of it like was just fucking nuts. So yeah, I kind of wish I would have seen Fast Color instead. But you know, I will say this: Robert Pattinson does a great job in the film. Andrea Benjamin did really good, and Juliette Binoche, she was good too. It just her character was fucked up. Like because it took me a while to realize that she was an inmate too. I was just thinking like she was on a doctor on the ship, but then I was like, wait a minute, they're not expected to come back. She volunteered for that shit. So then I realized that she's an inmate as well.
Interesting.
And so everyone on the ship is inmates. There's no staff. There's no like guards or anything like that.
Okay. Which
is weird to me because you got these dudes in there who like, what's stopping them from raping this, like, and which happens. Yeah. But then like what, like where's the guidelines? Like what keeps these people from not killing each other or doing whatever? So that was really odd too. So I don't know, but yeah. So your mileage may vary. I don't discourage anyone from seeing it. One thing I will say was weird was like, so it's a lower budget film, right? Mm-hmm. But this is what I thought was odd. So there's an airlock because they're in a spaceship, and you open the airlock and it goes out of space, right? To outer space. There are several shots. So there's some bodies that have to be disposed of. I will say that, right? There are shots where he goes to the airlock to dispose of the body, and he's standing there. So the camera's behind him. So you see the doorway. He's standing in the doorway. You can see past him and see blackness out of space, right? He'll take a body and throw it out the airlock, and you'll see that person just drop down.
Oh, okay.
So when they first show that, I'm like, okay, maybe they're not in space. Maybe it's an experiment, and they're still on Earth because obviously there's gravity. Because that motherfucker, he threw out the door and just went straight down, right? Yeah. But no, it was just their lack of. They just weren't trying to fake it.
Okay.
Which was odd to me because there's a person who gets thrown out, and I'm like, they gotta be not in space. The whole time I was thinking that's gonna be the twist, like they're on Earth somewhere, right? So there's a person that gets thrown out later on in the film, and then like you see him like they do like this really poor compositing shot of like it looks like the person just laying on the ground. But the way they composite it, it's like they're supposed to be floating in space because you see the spaceship like right next to him, and I'm like, Jesus, that was what the fuck? So I don't know. It gave it like this really quirky feel because at the very beginning, when he's out on the outer hub working on the ship, the daughter starts crying and he's trying to like talk to her like it's okay, and he moves suddenly. He knocks a tool away. And it looks like the tool just falls down, like, off the side of the ship. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he's on Earth. He's not in space. Yeah. But apparently it was supposed to have been it falling into the blackness of space. But the way it was shot, it just looked like that shit just fell off into the ground, into the darkness. And that was really weird. So I don't know. This is a really odd tone to the film and stuff like that in the way it looks. But yeah, I watched the movie. So
yeah, I watched the movie, man.
I got some beer and cheddar popcorn out of it.
Oh yeah, Angelica. Oh man.
So yeah, I will. That's all I got, man.
Dude, all right. Before we leave.
Oh yeah.
So all right, the theater. I swear, my theater experiences, man, it just always frustrates me. I have the worst luck. So I picked my seat. I'm in row E.
Which theater was it?
Arundel Mills, the Egyptian Theater, Arundel Mills. And so I'm like, all right, bet. There's only like 5 people in the theater. Row E, there's nobody in the seats, right? So I got the whole thing to myself. But of course, you know, other people won't buy tickets and whatnot. So this old man, kind of probably in the 60s, older guy, older gentleman, he comes up. He sits at the end. I'm like 5 seats in from the row, so I'm E6. He was E1, so we're about 4 or 5 seats between us. Then these 2 ladies, they sit like a seat in between us, and there's 2 seats. I thought they were going to be the issue because the one girl was like on her phone like all the way up until the movie started, but then like they were actually into the movie, so they weren't the problem. But this old man at the end, so he comes up and sits down, and he immediately goes to sleep and starts snoring. Before the movie starts. He starts snoring during the trailers. And I'm just like, because first I heard him yawn when the first trailer comes on. He's like, oh! oh. And I'm like, what? And then like the trailers are playing. We're watching all these different trailers. John Wick 3, all this other stuff coming up. Long Shot, which I want to see. And like he's like, I start hearing them snore. So the movie starts, and about 10, 15 minutes into the movie, and I just hear him snoring like he's going for it. And I'm like, the fuck? Why'd you buy a ticket if you come into the theater to go to sleep? And I don't normally say stuff to people, but I was like, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. So I got up and I went over and I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, excuse me, sir. I was like, you were snoring. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Thank you. And so he gets up and I'm like, all right. I was like, if this dude starts to snore again, I'm just gonna go sit somewhere else. So like he starts to stay up, but as we get towards the end of the movie, I think he started to snore, but you know how you catch yourself? So like he'll snore, he'll like, and then he'll like, oh. So, and I'm sitting there watching the movie, and I just can't help but get distracted. I'm watching the movie, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, why'd you come to this fucking theater? Like, what?
You've fallen asleep in movies before, though.
Dude, but that's like when we're like marathoning movies. Like when we're watching 4 or 5.
Sometimes, you be telling me you go see something and you'll fall asleep. You fell asleep in a movie last week or something like that. What movie was that?
I know it was Triple Threat.
See?
Don't tell the viewers I'm doing a review of that. So I'm gonna get it on Blu-ray. Review coming soon. But I was tired, man.
He was tired.
But it was the first show of the day, 11:35. Like, why are you coming to the theater at the early bird show just to, like, what was your purpose?
Maybe he didn't know. Some people go to sleep and don't think that they snore.
What are you trying to say?
Pause for dramatic effect. Some people go to sleep and don't think that they snore. They swear up and down, even when you record them and show them footage.
But I'm saying
every time y'all share a room together, but some people go to sleep and don't think that they snore.
You're comparing apples to oranges, man.
I'm comparing snoring people to snoring people. This is karma coming back to get your ass for every time we share a room and you snore.
But what I'm saying is, why are you in the theater and you don't want to see the movie?
Maybe he did want to see the movie, but
he fell asleep during the trailers.
He was like, let me knock this power nap out real
man,
quick.
please.
I done already seen these trailers. So the trailer's 20 minutes long.
He fell asleep on the first trailer.
Yeah, let me get this 20-minute nap in.
Man, please. No, man. He wasn't interested in going to see this movie. This is why sometimes I love the theater going experience, but sometimes when I have stuff like this happen to me, the theater experience is overrated. I'm sorry, Andy, but it's just like sometimes I'm just like,
you go to the wrong. But you know what? You can't complain because you keep going back to those theaters.
Back to what theater? Arundel Mills. I go everywhere. Where else can I go see this movie? Sometimes it's a limited release. It's only playing one weekend. I'm like, I bet it's the early bird show. This nobody.
Which movie we talking about? Fast Color.
Fast Color.
It's playing at the Magic Johnson theaters.
All right,
I've never had a problem at that theater, and because I used to live like right there, 5 minutes from my house.
But I never have any problems at Arundel Mills.
Apparently, you do now.
Well, that was just the one guy who thought he just wanted to take a nap, but
you see what it's like when a motherfucker be snoring and you're like, "Yo, stop."
No, I don't.
You don't?
I mean, not in the context that you're talking about.
Oh, well, you got off easy then.
Well, look. When we stand in a room, I'm there to sleep.
Me too. That's the fucked up part. But only one of us sleep. You know what? We're going to cut this shit short right now. I'm going to kick you out my house. Oh, man.
Yeah, all right.
Man, what you looking forward to this week? Oh, my God. The dog, bruh. It just hit me when I was saying
It's here.
Holy shit.
We're in the Endgame now.
I just got goosebumps. Look at my hairstand. And by the next time we record, we will be talking about Avengers Endgame. I will have seen it. I'm seeing it twice on Thursday. I got a ticket for Friday, and I'm going to see it again on Sunday.
Lucky you.
Maybe seeing it on Saturday with my family. So I would have seen it 4 times, 5 times. 5 times by the time we record.
That's a 3-hour movie, so that's 15 hours of your weekend.
Yikes. Yikes. But I have to get, because, you know, the first time is, this is
and that's the thing that sucks. I can only see it one time, which is going to be Thursday night, because I have a busy weekend, and I'm not going to have time unless if I try to catch a midnight showing, maybe Saturday.
Don't do that, because you're going to be that motherfucker on the seat number 1 in row F, snoring, fucking up somebody's Endgame screen.
Not for Endgame.
Yes, you will.
I'm not.
At 12 o'clock, Brian.
It depends. Well, yeah, because I got a long day on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I didn't just meet you, motherfucker.
I know. But I'll pay attention. One time be good for me. I'm gonna see it multiple times, but as of our review, I would have only seen it one time.
That one time is enough. That's crazy. That, you know what? I've been doing so. It helps. See, call me insane. Say what you will about me not watching any trailers or watching anything from this movie, but it's one of those out of sight, out of mind. Like, granted, I'll go, and I haven't really been on social media heavy lately, but granted, I'll go on there and I'll see the memes and I'll see people posting, "Oh my God, Endgame is coming," blah 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 blah. Yeah. But like, I've really been keeping myself so preoccupied that I haven't been thinking about it, and I love doing that because instead of, oh my God, it's a year away, oh my God, it's 6 months away, oh my God, it's a month away, oh my God, it's 3 weeks away, I have moments like now, holy shit.
Yeah, you're literally like 5 days away.
5 days away,
yeah, which
is crazy. So I'm excited.
And the great thing about the marketing is like, well, for you haven't really watched anything, but even for us, we still have no idea what the story is. Yeah. Like, nobody know. And I think that's the exciting thing about Thursday night. It's just the fact that we're finally going to know what the actual story is.
I did read a story that there was, because the Russos wrote a letter because someone had...
It got leaked. I think 4 minutes of the movie got leaked, and which is I never understand why. And people watched it, and some people wanted.
Why?
And it doesn't. They said the 4 minutes contains spoilers, but it's all still without. It's still there's no context to it.
Oh, okay.
But it just makes people want to see the movie more. But it's still 4 minutes, and I think it's 4 minutes of stuff towards the end of the film.
Oh shit! And then Robert Downey Jr. saying like the last 8 minutes of the movie are better than anything in the MCU and up to the. You didn't see that?
I didn't read that.
That's been the last. I want to say Friday. Friday was the big. All these different media outlets were posting his quote saying, "The last 8 minutes of Endgame are the best of the entire franchise up to this point, out of anything in any of the other movies." And I was like, God damn, okay, RDJ, them some big words, bruh. But you know what, though? Like, I wouldn't be surprised because this is, we talked about it before, but this movie and what it is, not even just in the zeitgeist, but I mean what this movie is in and of itself on celluloid or on film to file is unprecedented. Like, we've never had, like, even with the biggest franchise in the world, which is Star Wars, even with that, we've never had anything like Endgame, right? We've never had storytelling told in this way with 22 films that culminates with a singular film. You know what I'm saying? With characters that have had their own individual stories that just enhance their own backgrounds. So like it's like if you took Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And before we had Return of the Jedi, there was an Ewok movie, there was a Chewie movie, there was a Han Solo movie, there was a Vader movie, there was a Emperor Palpatine movie, there was a Jabba the Hutt movie. It's like before we got to that movie, it was like if we saw a movie about each of those characters leading up to Return of the Jedi over a span of like 10, 20 years or whatever. And then we got Return of the Jedi. Like, that's what Endgame is.
Yeah, I think we're going to see all the heroes together. Like, every single character. I mean, well, I think every character that we've had throughout the last 11 years is going to be in this movie in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking like even minor characters, like from Hank Pym to even the Ancient One. I think everybody's coming back for this movie in some way, shape, or form. But as far as like the actual heroes, I think we're going to get something that has everybody in this movie. That has like all of them in one scene together.
Let me ask you this before we go. So what do you do after Endgame, right? So you almost have to start from scratch because the reason why Infinity War hit the way it did with us emotionally or resonated the way it did or was so special, and the reason why Endgame will be and is so special is because we've spent all these years with we started with Tony in the cave.
Yeah.
You know, we started with
Captain
Thor and
Rogers,
Asgard and
yeah.
Captain Steve back in the days, right?
Yeah, Skinny Steve.
We've spent all of these years with these characters, and this is the last time that they're going to be front and center to carry the MCU forward. So after Endgame, we're going to have new relationships. And
it's going to be interesting because we're going to have characters that carry over.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a brand new saga because they
right.
said that these 22 films are going to be known as the Infinity Saga.
Right.
So now we're going to start a new storyline or build up to something else, or it could be something completely different.
Right.
We don't know. But I mean, and we know from announcements that they are introducing new characters. We know Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man are going to lead us into this new era. They talk about Shang-Chi's going to have his own movie. So I mean, we're getting, of course, but Black Widow's gonna have her own movies. The Guardians are coming back,
and that's what I'm saying. So it's almost like an emotional reset. Like we reset to the beginning again.
Yeah.
Of, okay, who are these characters? Who are these people? Who are you? What makes you you? Who are you going to be? What are you going to become? How great are you going to become?
But like Brad would say, I mean, it's no different from how comic book
right.
runs are.
Right.
And I think that's going to kind of be something similar where we still know some of these characters, but we'll introduce like new comic arcs and get to know new characters.
But for example, what I'm saying though is like for us, I think probably the strongest emotional connection that most people would have is Steve and Tony and their relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because our relationship with those characters. So my thing is like, who's going to be our new Steve and Tony? And we're going to have to start.
Well, I think they're building that now.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we'll have to start from scratch. But it's not going to be in the same way that we've seen.
No, I don't think
because we've already had those characters introduced. I think we're going to have characters like Captain Marvel and Black Panther that's going to lead.
But what I'm saying is our relationship with them is going to, because you guys think
it's going to grow, it's going to change.
Look at how it's grown and solidified with just Steve and Cap.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I mean, Steve and Tony.
And Tony, no, absolutely. And
just imagine like where we're going to be like 10 years as far as how we view T'Challa or Carol.
Yeah, and that's the exciting thing about it. And we never know, depending on how Endgame ends, maybe the possible return of those characters. I'm excited, man.
Me too.
Like I said, for me, I become emotionally invested in Steve Rogers' story. I love him as a character, what he represents, what he means overall, not just to us as the fans, but even to the team, the Avengers team within that movie, within that universe. He is the pillar, or at least one of the pillars, and I'm curious to see how his story ends, because I'm excited. I really want, and this is me theorizing. I hate theorizing, but I really want him to get that last dance with Peggy. Yeah, and I think that will be a fitting end for his character. Yeah, everybody talks about who's going to die, I don't like talking about that. Whatever happens is going to happen. I just want to get involved into the story, but for his story. And the Russos know this because everything has an arc and everything is always going to wrap back around, because the Russos said there's a reason why the original 6 were left at the end of Infinity War. Yeah. Because there's going to have to be something that they're going to have to do to bring everybody back. And I love that wraparound of how we come back to the original 6. Yeah. And it
makes sense. It makes perfect narrative sense.
Yeah. So. It should be a beautiful arc, man. I'm excited.
All right, man. I know I said we was going to keep that short and sweet. I lied. It was Brian's fault. You can follow the other dorks at Mouth Dork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untap, at Sidewalk Siren, and at Baked Dork on Twitter and Instagram, and at Sidewalk Sirens also on Letterboxd. Billy Daz, the Indie Dork, is at WB Daz on Twitter and Instagram. Brian is at the Turtle Dork on Twitter, at the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. And I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, on all social medias. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. The next time you hear us, we will all 4 dorks, Wife Dork, Mouth Dork, Turtle Dork, Disco, we will be sitting down together again, like the original, like the wraparound. Like with the Avengers, original dorks will be back to talk about Endgame.
Yeah.
So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully you all got tickets. Go out and see that movie so we won't be spoiling anything because we're going to spoil that shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, after Thursday night, all bets are off.
Yeah. So, hopefully you got tickets. That shit was nuts. Yeah. And hopefully you get to see the film. And hope you love it as much as we hope to as well. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully it goes by fast. And until next time.